Good evening, it's Friday, it's 7 p.m, this is Easy 8 Online Painting Club. My name's Danny, says it right down there. Yeah, I'm having some more technical issues this evening. I can't hear the music again, I don't know why it does that. So you've got to tell me today if the music is unbearably loud or so insignificantly quiet, might as well not have it on there. So yeah, this evening it's going to be me talking to myself and hopefully you guys. I hope you guys have been well since last week. And I can see that we've got 4 people already in there chatting away. Jeff Lacey, oi oi. Luke Gallier saying hello. Chris the Wolf saying let's go, and Leslie saying yodel. Hi, nice. Thank you very much for coming along. Nice to see you again. I'm a little bit late because it's been a mental week, and one of the things I wanted to say today was it's been a crazy week because at work not only have my duties become more and more, as we know and I've been talking about in the past, and I'm trying to get on top of my work standards, and so I can run the show effectively. A colleague who I work very closely with in the office, and we share our duties together, broke her ankle the other day and dislocated it twice in the same skating injury. So I've been stepping up in the office and taking on a lot more work. So I've just got home, had some food, showered, and now I'm here, and I've just finished doing my technical tests and things like that. Yeah, so I haven't been able to sort out all my music levels. I've seen some more comments going in. Adrian Dean saying good evening. Hi Adrian, thanks again for coming along. And Leslie says the music is fine this time, dude, and can hear you fine too. Well, that's good. I can't hear it. You can. It's just nice to have a bit of background music. So, here in the southwest of the UK, it is unbearably hot. It is, if you're anywhere else in the world and used to warmer temperatures, it's probably nothing to you. The report said 26 degrees. It feels higher than that. But I am melting through my tear ducts today. It is very, very warm. I'm sat here in shorts, as I often am, and I'm still sweating. Got the window open over there as always, trying to block the sunlight out. I've been out in it all day and it's just been very, very warm. Though it's uncomfortable to be in the studio or anywhere at the moment in the southwest here, it does make painting drying times that much faster, so that's a plus. Anyway, if you're new to Easy 8 Online Painting Club, it's not a tutorial, say it every week. It's just a painting club, a social group if you like, where you can come along, just kind of paint your stuff and get your stuff done, and join in with a live chat just over there, and share the time with other people who are also doing the same. Maybe you can share some tips or hints and whatever. You can follow us on Facebook and on Instagram, and of course if you want to, you can like and follow us, and if you were to subscribe to this channel, then it would help me and Kyle, my co-host, out immensely to try and make this community something bigger for you guys, because it's all about you. And here I am burping again because I've just ate so fast to get here today. So, gonna mix things up a little bit this week. I barely had time to get everything together because at work the tragedy that has been my colleague's leg is just it's thrown all my plans out a little bit. I just was like, oh my god, what have you done? Imagine breaking your ankle and dislocating that same ankle twice in one injury. It's just, she has to go to surgery. It's quite crazy. She's okay and she's still working. A lot of my job is kind of making sure that she's comfortable and she has everything that she needs. But yeah, but I was supposed to be able to go out and get lots of bits and pieces for tonight's show. I still have stuff for tonight's show. And hopefully it will still go well, and hopefully you still get to enjoy what I'm going to be doing tonight. Going to be doing a little bit of terrain, have a little look at that in just a second. So yes, one of the other things that I wanted to be doing this evening was helping out Jeff Lacey, who is my dad, who lives just around the corner from where I am, with one of his orders, because he makes bespoke items of scenery and things and buildings and whatever for customers, and people have ordered stuff through this show through him, which is wonderful. He wanted me to do some cracked earth terrain on some of the features that he's been doing. Unfortunately, because of my colleague breaking her leg very savagely, I have not been able to go and meet my father to go and pick this stuff up, to then talk about what needs to be done and then do it as part of this show. No biggie from the show point of view. My humblest apologies to you, Dad, for kind of failing on that front, and to anybody else who was looking forward to doing that, because we were talking about it last week briefly. But hopefully, with your customer notwithstanding, of course, we might be able to get it in next week, all being well. Leslie says, I may be as pale as a piece of paper, but I love the heat. Change me colours, you beautiful burning ball in the sky. Yeah, I don't do well in the heat. I love that being in the sun, and it's wonderful and it makes the world all beautiful and everything, but I just don't operate very well in it. I've drunk maybe about 83 litres of water just to keep going, and I'm melting. I'm much better suited to cooler climates. But it is nice. It's nice weather, isn't it? You can't dismiss that. Yeah. Anyway, so let me take you over to the workbench, and I will show you what it is that I'm going to be working on today. So this is, there's a wonderful view you've got of it here. This is a piece of 3D printed terrain that I printed. It is an Eldar Webway portal thing, or just some kind of really cool looking giant talon. It is on Thingiverse, which is a website that you can go to if you were into 3D printing, and you can download lots of files. Most of them, 99% of them, are for free. Some people put these files up, do appreciate people donating towards the efforts that they put into it. And yeah, and you can kind of download them and make them as well, as long as you're not kind of selling them. That is the expectation, I believe. So I downloaded a load of files many months ago and printed off 2 of these. And I sped it up, made it all work really, really quickly. So they kind of printed out crudely. That was my expectation. And you can see lots of lines, not like printing lines, not like the layer lines. But if I kind of hold it up, you might be able to see. Do you see these diagonal lines that are kind of flicking up and all over the place? These are lines, artifacts that are created from the internal, because the walls are so thin on this to reduce printing material and to reduce printing time. I just scrimped on everything I could to knock these out as fast as I could. Something like this on a normal print you would expect to probably take around about, I reckon, about an hour and a half to 2 hours to get a really nice print and still kind of be swift. I printed these out in about 45 minutes, so about half the time. You might even want to go to nearly 3 hours for one of these to get a really nice print. There was a little bit of support on them. So when you're printing, you obviously need something to kind of hold up overhangs. So right at the tip up here, there's like a little lump where there was a line that basically came down like this paintbrush and just kind of held it up in place. That just snapped away, cleaned it all up. But it needed a lot of cleaning and things and attention to it. So with all the lines, what I thought I would try and do, rather than sanding it all down, I thought I would try and cheat by getting some modelling putty and thinning it right down and kind of just smushing it in and see if it would sit in all the grooves. It didn't work very well. This isn't the one I did it on. I did it on the other one, and it didn't work. It was taking a really long time. It sort of worked. It's very lumpy and bumpy, and it hasn't had that effect that I wanted to. So rather than just kind of pressing on with it and just getting really frustrated, you can see how it wasn't going in the right places and staying in the right places. So I just left it and I thought I'll let it dry, sand it down, but that took a long time to do. So I just got some sandpaper, and I also got my little Proxon mini sander, which is a little device I've just got here, bring it into shot. It's just like a little mini sander. It looks like a little drill, but the idea is it just kind of buzzes away little sticky sandpaper bits on there. And I actually cut out squares of my own grit sandpaper, a bit of like tacky glue, like Pritt stick or something. Stick that on there, and away you go. So you can do whatever grits you like. Sanded that down. They did a little bit by hand. It's still a little bit rough in places. I'm okay with that. I printed this up really fast to kind of knock it out as fast as I could to see where I could get with it, and then I gave it a layer of gloss paint, because gloss, or any kind of varnishes, are resin based. I know I said resin paint, resin varnish. So the idea is that would actually act as a bit of a filler. After I sanded most of those lumps and bumps away and all the sort of print lines, etc., that gloss varnish should just sit into those lines. It seems to have worked really, really well. I'm noticing now that when I sprayed it up the other day in a rush, because work is a nightmare at the moment, that I've actually missed this one little panel here, but that's absolutely fine. I'm going to give it another layer. And then while I'm doing that, it should dry pretty quickly because it's hot as anything in here. Yeah. I'm going to paint this one up and making it look like it's an archaic piece of, scenery. Like it's been there for 1,000 years. But because it's alien craft, or alien tech, I kind of want it to look like it hasn't weathered as much as you might expect it to. So I was just going to kind of I know, make it look clean yet weathered, if that makes sense. And with the other one that I've got, what I'd like to do with this one is kind of tell a story a little bit with it, because we all know I like to tell a story with my painting, especially when it comes to bases on my miniatures, is to like kind of make this one all Tyranid terrain, so like it's being overcome by, you know, alien flora, etc. So I'm going to do lots of creeper vines and weird things all over it, but that's for another day. Yeah, a great testing opportunity. They are a little bit rough, but that's not going to be a problem. That was absolutely my intention. So yeah, cool. What I've got to do though, because I've been rushing around over the last couple of days, I've just got to give my needle in my airbrush a quick wipe over with a little bit of cleaning fluid, just because when I varnished the other day, even though I did purge it and clean it properly, it there's a little bit left inside there, and it's kind of just, yeah, that is stuck well and truly. So if I just give that a little bit of a push, there we go, and it just needs to have a bit of a clean. Oh yes, that's grippy, and you can see on the needle here, see that little white lump? That is exactly what I don't want to happen, but exactly what I do want on this. I want it to kind of sit in all the lines and be kind of mask the fact that it's got all those print lines in there. I'm going to give that a quick clean off now. It shouldn't take me very long. I'm going to give it another layer of gloss, and then I'm just going to start painting it and see if I can kind of get that done in the space of this evening's show. While I'm doing that, of course, I would love to know what it is that you guys are painting. So if you're doing a project this evening, let me know what it is that you're up to. If you're just kind of watching the show, just for the company, just because it's something that you like to do, let us know as well, because that's cool. And of course, if you go over to Facebook, or if you even go over to Discord, you can share photos of all your work over there too, because I'd love to see it. That would be wonderful. Jeff has put in a comment, no worries mate, would have got them to you, but the house is now a building site. It's put me so far behind with orders. Sorry, Leslie. Yeah, because Leslie got that tree that you've ordered from him. Yeah, you're having your kitchen renovated, aren't you, at the moment? Shouldn't take very long. Once it's done, at least you've got a nice new kitchen. New space and worktops to put all of your hobby stuff. But don't tell the other half. I should find it. Think of all those cupboards and things you could put stuff in. Gotta have man cave space. That really needs a really good run through in there. That's quite manky. I thought I'd give it a good enough clean the other day. I didn't. So a quick way of cleaning this is putting a little bit of neat cleaner in there, turning the needle around the other way so you're not going to put the pointy end in, and then just kind of push it through. And it should just help declog. I should run that through a couple of times. And if that's not clearing it quickly, then I can just move up a little bit. Ideally, I'd like to have had this done before the show, but such is life. That is why we have the show, right? Is so that we can make sure that we carve out a couple of hours of time every week for our hobbies. Adrian says, I'd be working on a trio of tanks. See Easy8 on Facebook for more details. Okay, cool. Advertising through my space. I love it. Do it. Yeah. Oh, look at that big lump of resin that just came out of my airbrush. That is minging. Oh, there we go. That is much cleaner. Fantastic. Cool. Hopefully that will just be that, and I won't have to do much more cleaning this evening, because that does become a bit of a headache after a while. Cool. And Chris the Wolf says, I'm doing some line art now on my dragon. Yeah, you still haven't shown me, Chris, this wonderful image of a dragon that you are painting. I would love to see it. We quite often catch up, Chris and I and others, at the end of the show and head on over to Discord. You're becoming quite a regular to the Discord family, so thanks very much for coming along. There's a huge pool of resin sat in the bottom of my paint hopper there. Let's get rid of that too. Also, Chris, coming from Germany, I've obviously been keeping up with the news. Some horrific weather over there in Germany. I do hope that hasn't affected you or anyone that you know. Obviously, it has affected some people. So yeah, some international condolences going out to you and others out there at the moment in this trying time for you. I hope all is well at your end. With the flash floods out there, my goodness. while over here I'm baking like I'm in an oven, it feels quite unfair. But yeah, I do hope that you're all well. Right, let's put this nozzle on. Okay, Leslie says, I'm making a Battletech board, really enjoying the game, and no worries, Jeff Lacey, it will all be worth the wait. I've seen your work, so I'm aware that it's going to be a true piece of art. Ah, you guys. Okay, there we go. Hopefully, that should be everything. Is that working? It seems to be working. Okay, let's put a bit of air through this. Wonderful. Okay, cool. Right, let's crack on and do this. So, I want to give it another layer of gloss varnish. Just a simple Vallejo gloss varnish here. I have, over the last few weeks, been kind of perfecting my mix for most of my paints, varnishes, etc. So for this one, I just put in, it's about 10 to 12 drops. But I know that roughly comes to this sort of level in the hopper in there, so I don't really like count it anymore. You kind of get used to how much goes in after a while. 2 drops of flow improver, and that just helps it move from the airbrush onto the model. It has proven to be quite beneficial. And then just 1 good drop of airbrush thinner. That seems to be a nice mix there. Get my little mixy brush and just give that a mix up. I can feel the sun has attacked the back of my neck today, and the shirt collar is being quite uncomfortable. Make sure, guys, that when you're in the sun, that you cover up and take the necessary precautions, because my fair skin cannot handle it. Whew. And maybe yours can't either. Right, okay, ready for a little bit of glossing here. I'm just going to get out a little piece of paper because I don't like to spray directly onto my matte surface there. And I'm just going to give it a bit of a go over. I'm going to be quite liberal with it. Not too heavy because I do want it to dry quite quickly. And I'm going to make sure that I cover that little section here that I've missed. Plenty of water there. Chris says, don't worry, it was near me, but I'm okay. Good, I'm glad, because that's quite shocking, frankly. Natural disaster's horrible. Right. Make sure we get a bit of a flow going on there. Brilliant, here we go. So, just give it a bit of a spray. Try not to go too heavy, and making sure that I've given it a good layering. Quite hard to describe what it is I'm trying to talk about. You can see where it goes once you're kind of spraying it on. Probably this colour here isn't the best colour to be spraying against. Let's turn it over. That's better contrast, isn't it? You can see where it starts to spray, and then obviously as it builds up it gets really quite shiny because it's a liquid, right? But when you start spraying too much, it starts to go quite opaque, and that's too much, and you're going to end up with like an uneven surface if you carry on. Wonderful. I'm using it like a filler primer, I suppose. The orange colour that you see on there is a car body filler spray primer. I picked it up from a local supermarket to give it a go. It seems to do okay. I think I was expecting more from it. Quite unrealistically, I was expecting it to be a quick fire solution. It wasn't, but it really helps when I'm sanding down. it really does help to it mixes. Because I wet sand these, it's so much more efficient, and that wet sanding helps to kind of mix the paint around, and it kind of flows into all the creases and lines and imperfections, of which there are many on this. I've ran out of it since. You can see here that the colour is quite opaque. That is kind of what I was trying to avoid. But there's the area that I missed, so I kind of wanted to kind of catch up a little bit. Now, in these scooped out recesses, whatever you want to call those bits, cutouts, because of the way that the printer saves time, and just by the nature of the way that it prints, it's really quite rough in there. That's not a big issue. Like I said, it was a rushed piece. It was just for the fun of it, really, just for the hobby of kind of printing. and I'm sure I can hide that with some weathering, be it grass or soil or just colours. Just trying to take your eye away from that, really. Yeah, and you can see that there's like a lot of almost damage to these vents and things in here where there was lots of unnecessary supports. I learned a lot from making a lot of just random pieces about printing and trying to pry supports away, and the way that they adhere to the actual model itself can damage the model when you're removing them, and because it's such a thin piece, when you're kind of removing these supports, they're more susceptible to damage. But I'm going to hide it all. I could paint this like it's a pristine piece of terrain, but the whole idea of the Eldar technology in the world of Warhammer 40,000 is that they are a dying race, that their golden age, if you will, has come and gone, and that they're in the latter stages of their civilization. So all of their really cool, wonderful structures, or whatever it is they've left all over the galaxy, are supposed to be ancient and rarely used, and they're like ruins as such in some way, in the way that we kind of travel about the world and see ancient ruins, but probably on a larger time scale perhaps. So for the colours, I'm thinking, and by all means have some input in this today, but I'm thinking about just kind of going for like a bone kind of colour, because Eldar structures are supposed to be made from psychic material, which is crafted by a special type of psychic called a bone singer. And when psychic material is created by, I suppose, thinking about it, it's supposed to be something like bone, and it is psychically conductive. That is like the nerdiest sentence I think I've ever said. I like it though, it's cool. So yeah, I'm going to kind of make it a bony kind of colour. And I will probably do all these lumps and bumps as like gems, or maybe I'll just do them like a glossy black. That might be quite cool. And then just going to kind of weather it and make it look awesome. About a base, I don't know if I'm going to put a base on this one. With the Tyranid one, I think that'd be quite nice. If I make it like it's being kind of transformed, I could put like an acid pool or some sort of terrain base at the bottom of it. But this one just might be quite nice just to have it, or maybe a little bit of grass or soil around the bottom there. That might be quite cool. Luke says, today I'm edge highlighting knight legs, so much silver paint. Yeah, that knight is looking really cool, but it's a big model, and edge highlighting, that is probably going to take some time. And silver paint is a notorious crawler. It creeps, it gets everywhere. Best of luck with it. Would love to see it. So I do put photos up. Luke always puts photos up of all of his stuff, as there's quite a few people out there in the community. Do consider sharing photos. I would love to see it. Going back to my Panther model that I've been working on over recent weeks, quite proud of the level that I've got with it so far. I decided I would have a little look to see if there were any kind of appropriate groups on Facebook to talk about it and kind of get some hints and tips and just kind of show it off a little bit. And I found a Facebook group that I haven't put in the description to this video, but I can do if you want to, and talk about it later on Discord as well. It's called Advanced Modelers and Techniques, and it's everything kind of going in there. So I put up a picture of my Panther, and it's still a work in progress, as we all know, and within the space of about 12 hours, 150 plus reactions to it, so many engagements I couldn't care to count them, and just the entire community on that page, which is kind of commenting and praising the work, and just being really pleasant and supportive. So if you're looking for a nice group to kind of share your works with, head on over to that group, because they're a really positive bunch. It's a shame that, as with most Facebook groups, that they're kind of against pitching and selling, or sharing your like your YouTube channel, for example, that I couldn't tell them about that. I didn't want to break their rules, because of course I could have given them a really big praise for it. Perhaps what I will do is I'll get in contact with the administrators of the page and just kind of let them know, and then if they want to, then they can make that decision. They're a really nice group, and yeah, and if you like, I'll talk about them with you in Discord later on after this show. Yeah, it was just nice to get some positive praise. Not that you guys haven't been positive, or that people who see it in my house haven't been positive. Everybody has been very constructive at the very least. But it's just nice, isn't it? Everyone likes to have stuff done that to do stuff that people praise. It's just nice. It's just nice. Cool. Gone a bit heavy at the top up there. I've got a little bit of gloss left in there. Let's get rid of that and just blow a little bit of air and purge it. Now, this is what I was worried about. Oh, it's not a big deal. There's a little bit of opaqueness here at the top. You can see this kind of white streak here. That is just a pool that now I'm trying to blow around. It's kind of bunching up. It'll take a little bit longer to dry. I just went a little bit heavy at the end there. It's a bit of a shame. But with some weathering and just kind of moving it around a little bit, it should disappear. You shouldn't even notice it there. I could, of course, sand this again. But it's such a rough piece, I'm not really going to worry about it that much. More comments going in. Jeff says, bring the bug ones down and I will help you base them on a birthing pool thing. Then you can do a big acid pool. Yes, that would be wonderful. If anybody wants to know what he's actually talking about there, about a big birthing pool thing, then if you head on over to purplelincreations.co.uk, which is his website on his Facebook page, and they are on the Facebook page as well, you can see some of his resin cast quick fix terrain solutions. There's lots of pools and craters and suggestions and things for it, and we've done lots of Tyranid terrain in the past and it looks awesome. So yeah, could do like some big acid filled craters and things just to make it look super cool. If you remember back episodes and episodes ago talking about the Tyranids and my basing ideas for them, is I like to have like red weed tentacle kind of flora in my theme, because I'm a massive fan of H.G. Wells' The War of the Worlds, the novel. I've been obsessed with it as a child. So if you know the story, the concept of the red weed, I just find it fascinating. The idea that the sort of late 19th century was considered the possibility of Mars being red was because of a weed that had overtaken the planet or consumed the planet, so that it made it appear red. I just like the idea of these kind of creepers, this alien creeper just kind of consuming everything around it, because Tyranids in the background of what they are just a biological set of life forms. They consume everything. They overtake everything. They're animals. They have plants. They have spore. They have gases. And the idea is that you just kind of kill everything, and then everything gets mulched down, and then swallowed up through a giant drinking straw. So you kind of get these Tyranid life forms, these plants, like giant brambles or giant Venus flytraps or whatever your imagination can manifest, and they help consume everything on the planet, be it animals, people, other natural plants and things, and just generally make it a bad time for the natives. And I like the idea of this red weed creeping up over things and collapsing structures and pulling people into pits of acid, etc. I thought it was a great crossover between two things that I really enjoy. So what I might do with it is have like a big pool of acid and just kind of red vines coming up of it, and kind of crawling all over the actual structure itself. Maybe pulling it apart, maybe breaking it. That'd be kind of cool. I think that the whole hand in the acid pool is probably a little bit overdone, a little bit cliche now, right? Right. That has dried so quickly in my airbrush. That is actually like PVA glue in there. That is horrible. Let's give that a bit of a wipe out. Drying quite quickly on the model there, which is nice. There are some areas that it isn't drying so quickly. I'm gonna grab some more water because it's still so warm here. So I'm gonna paint it with that kind of that bone color. I'll lightly wash it, tint that colour with maybe some Agrax Airshade or maybe some Seraphim Sepia colours that I've used quite a lot with my Tyranids. Really nice brown colour. I might do the lighter one, which is the Seraphim Sepia, because it will be working with an off-white colour. And just kind of add a little bit of tone and depth to that sort of colour. And then once I've got that, I might paint the gemstones in black. I think I might do that just for now, and then leave it. I'm not going to go over the top with all the colours on there, and the rest will be weathering. So going straight back over to things that I've been using recently, streaking grime as an example, it might be like a really good thing to do, and I can just kind of like do runs of just rubbish and grime and whatever. Maybe do some rust, but it's not supposed to be metallic, so I don't know if I'm going to go down the rust route with this one. See what happens. Yeah, just basically do lots of grime running down. I've also got in this AK range of enamel washes, I've also got one that I impulse bought long ago with the intention of doing something similar to this, which is like damp. Like when you get damp patterns on walls and it goes all green, like slimy grime. I've got some of that, and that would look really cool, kind of just running off in some of the recesses, but kind of creeping up from the bottom, and that kind of will give the impression that it's been there for centuries, maybe even longer, and it's just kind of been in this grassland or wherever it's going to be for a really, really long time. Leslie says the idea of the red weed and the Tyranid infested planet kind of bored. Sorry, I think I'm reading that wrong. Let me start again. The idea of the red weed and a Tyranid-infested planet kind of a board, to me, sounds like a possible plan. What do you think, dude? Oh, okay, cool. I see what you're saying. Sorry, I rushed into that. Yes, for the game boards and the terrain the ideas for your games club that you're thinking about, it's a brilliant idea. Yeah, let's do that. Let's make that happen. As and when I've got some time, of course. We've got lots of ideas that we've been talking about recently outside of the show. Yeah, see if we can make that happen. See if we can just kind of like build lots of terrain, being overtaken and tyranniformed, I think is the term that Games Workshop like to use to make it look like that it's being absorbed or eaten. Jeff says, just had a thought. Has anyone built a bug ship for the game's table? What, you mean like inside all the corridors and things, like a Space Hulk but inside a bioship? I've never seen anything like that. There are some novels out there where they talk about sending elite task force of Space Marines into them. It's generally not a good idea because, well, it's just you're going inside a giant Tyranid. But that sounds like it could be really good fun. Interested in the green paint. Oh, right, yeah, I'm going to get those out in just a second. I was just kind of talking while I was waiting for the thing to dry here. And I'll have a little look and see where my paints are. So, I've got so many different washes and enamel paints and things. I've got pin washes for different coloured tanks. I'm just having a little look through them now. Of course, I'm completely unprepared for this evening because of the events at work recently. Cool. Nope, these aren't the ones I'm after. I do have some splash gel. That might be interesting a little bit later on. And there's no reason why I can't use things like this either. So I've got like different washes for different colour tanks and things. So a brown blue for working on Panzer Grey vehicles, and a dark brown for working on Allied green vehicles. In the same way that I've got the wash for working on German dark yellow. So I could use things like that as well. There's no reason, just because they're designed for a specific function, that the colours won't serve me well for this particular project. Here's all my acrylic paints down here. So I should have a bone colour in here. Could give it a layer of white undercoat, but I think that might be unnecessary. I could do it a grey colour as well, but I do a lot of grey with some of my other paintings because obviously I do Tyranids and their carapace is grey. I don't think I really want to go down that road. Just make sure that I haven't got it out on the table already, because that would be embarrassing, wouldn't it? I've got some silver out. No, I don't have it out already. Okay, keep looking, keep looking. Got a khaki colour. I don't think that's going to be appropriate. Various flesh colours. I wonder if I haven't actually already got it out, because that, yeah. Yeah, I've just realised I don't actually have that colour in airbrush colours. I actually have it as a Citadel colour. Of course I do. That is very foolish of me. I have here my two shades. I use these all the time. They're brilliant. Agrax, Earthshade, and Ceratum Sepia. I might give this one a quick layer of white just to give them a bit of an undercoat through the airbrush, just to kind of give them some quick coverage and hide at that orange. A little bit of extra paint will also hide a lot of the lines on there, and then I'm going to go over with some Screaming Skull. I could mix this down, put it through the airbrush, but that actually takes a lot of effort, and I don't think I'm going to do that. I just might hit it with a big heavy brush. So let's get some white in here. Okay, and again, same mixture I did earlier. I'm going to put in 1 drop of thinner and 2 drops of flow improver. mix all that up. There are still some patches of that varnish on there that are still wet, but that's fine. Okay. Got a lot of spatter there, but that's because I think we've got something on the needle. Get that clean. If this is just going to be too fussy, I'm just going to go straight to brush. Yeah, a little bit of a blockage right at the beginning, but it seems to be going on fine. This is just an undercoat anyway, so that's all right, whatever. Just a slight touch there, make sure that I'm not going to be spraying on soaking wet varnish. Got a bit of spatter going on, but yeah, whatever. It's gonna be stained and weathered as we go. I've had these printed for such a long time and not done anything with them, because they were just kind of like a bit of an experiment and playing around with them, seeing how they printed. It's nice to actually see something come of them, really. And I played a game just the other week with my housemate who plays Eldar, and of course I had some Tyranid Terrain as well printed, that we actually decided to use them in the game and actually have like effects. If you're stood near them, you get like a bit of a morale bonus, so you kind of get like an additional leadership point being near them. Very rarely was it ever used, but it's just kind of nice to have it. Adds to that narrative flavour. Okay, put the top up there. Bringing all the colours together now, because obviously getting a base paint on there hides all the mess of everything underneath, and it kind of just starts to, it just hides it all, brings it all together. Lovely. So I think white would be the bad choice. I don't think that like a pure white colour, if I was going to go down that road, I would have changed my mind by now. It's too stark for something like this. I think like bone is the better choice. Of course, if you disagree, hit me with the devil's advocate on that. Tell me otherwise. And of course, greys, I think would look just too dull, and something that could be quite attractive. And what this is doing is it's showing me where there are a lot more lines and imperfections and things in here, things that I wouldn't normally want on a quality model. I'm not overly fussed about them, but for example, in these what I suppose are supposed to be gems, if you were to look closely, there is a lot of layer lines in there that actually stops it from becoming a smooth semi-sphere or whatever that kind of object is. And that's what I was trying to do with modeling putty, was just trying to kind of get a my headphones just ran out of power, which is embarrassing. It's all happening tonight, isn't it? What I was saying, sorry, is that I would put some filler in there to kind of make it smooth, something that's sandable or whatever, but it was just being too fussy. It was just being too awkward to use, and I was really struggling, and it was just too much effort. I could use something like green putty from Green Stuff World. This comes out with much the same consistency of toothpaste. It's water soluble, so you can just kind of scoop some out, add a bit of water into it, and mix it in as you want. I find it very easy to go too far adding water to it, but it is something that I could just kind of, you know, put in there with a brush and then sand it out later. It doesn't respond very well to aggressive sanding. In fact, it's very easy to over sand and actually just remove everything in one go. So I try to not really use that. I thought it was going to be a cure-all product, but it really wasn't. It takes a lot of getting used to. However, it might be really appropriate for filling in a lot of the gaps and things on here. I'm not going to worry about that today. I just kind of want to get some colour on there. Let's have a look at the comments then quickly while I'm waiting for more paint layers to dry. Jeff has said he's interested in the green paint. Yeah, we read that one. It's good to have some good terrain. Makes the games so much better. Yeah, it does. They were like the silvery kind of plastic that I had printed them in, sat on the table, and I do like to have good quality looking terrain on the table, but it was better than having, you know, nothing or the same old scenery that we've been using for years and years. Just get a last little bit of colour on here. It's starting to dry quite quickly. Again, trying to not go too heavy because it just means that the drying time is just a bit longer. Just trying to keep it quick, simple, fun. And this is just an undercoat anyway. Let's just turn him up on his side there. Brilliant. Let's just get rid of that white paint that's in there. Made probably a bit too much. And we'll just flush that through, because the airbrush is going to suffer, I think, tonight. Now, the next thing that I am going to do is just going to go straight in with a big brush. I've got several size large brushes here. I'm just going to get some Screaming Skull from Citadel, add a bit of water, and I'm just going to start layering it on quite, not heavy, but just fast, quite aggressive, and just get a good coat on there. So an opportunity now just to kind of clean the airbrush out while that layer there dries. It's got some weird sort of effect occurring up here, probably because it's mixed in with the varnish, perhaps, I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's going to be weathered. It's going to be weathered. Right, let's just clean this hopper out. And just flush. I'm actually really quite excited about the idea of making a Tyranid terrain board now. With your terrain boards then, Leslie, are you doing them in like certain like foot sections, or are you just doing like a whole game board, like a whole table? Because you can like obviously do it like 1 by 1 foot or 2 by 2 foot, so that you have like lots of different interchangeable tiles, if you like. Or are you just doing like one big games table? That would be an interesting thing. Obviously it's more to store. Is it more to store? I don't know. I have very limited space, unfortunately, in storage in this house. I don't regret it because obviously it's a shared house. I've said many times before, that does keep the cost of living very affordable. So pros and cons, right? Pros and cons. It's an expensive world to live in, and when you share a house with 3 other people, it makes it so much easier. But of course that does mean more people occupying the same space, less storage space for you as an individual. Wonderful. Okay. Let's put the nozzle protector back on. Then I think I'm good to go with some brushwork. Gotta get some more water here. I can't believe that my headphones ran out. Normally it gives me a little warning that it's going to happen, but that must have happened earlier on when I was out the room. Sorry. Bit of a fiasco today. Bit of a circus show. So, I've got some larger brushes. This is one of my favourite larger brushes. This is, I think it was just a kind of a cheap sable brush. I've had it for years. It's done me really proud. It's got really soft sable bristles on the end, and it covers a really large area. I call it my tank brush because it's good for just kind of doing quick areas on large surfaces. A squirrel mix. Poor little squirrel. Let's not talk about that. So yeah, I'm just going to get some of this Screaming Skull. Going to mix it in with some water and see if I can just cover a nice large area. I feel like the clock is against me a little bit. Not that I'm under any kind of time pressure. I just want to kind of get as much done on this tonight as I can. So I'm not going to get my wet palette out for this now. I've got the palette I was using for some of my oil surfaces or my enamel paints a little while ago. So I'm just going to mix it straight onto there. Alright. Got a nice amount in there. Let's just scoop some out with another brush. Dollop. Wonderful. Make sure that's sealed nice and tight because it's so warm. Any little air getting into those paints is going to dry that out pretty quickly. And then add some water. On my palette here you can see this kind of green snot effect here. That's actually that liquid green stuff from Green Stuff World. It's wonderful stuff. I just don't think I'm using it right. So like most products that I buy, just a bit more practice perhaps. If you haven't used it before, I highly recommend it. You can get lots of little like paste type filler things out there, and it's always worth having a practice with different brands, seeing which one offers you the quality that you require. Right. Okay. A quick check to see how we're drying here. Yeah, I've got a bit of wet surface on there. So I'm just going to give it a blast with some air. How are you guys getting on this evening? I would love to know your progress update report. Tell me how you're getting on. Luke there with the highlights and the edging of his knight's legs. You're going to be there for a while on that one, mate. Adrian with your 3 tanks, would love to know how you're getting on. The line drawings on Chris's dragon painting, I would love to know how that's coming on as well. The kitchen, Dad, how's the kitchen coming on? Yeah. Leslie says, I use A2 foam boards and B of them make I see, yep, 2 of them make a 6x4, but I guess depending if you have a specific narrative story behind, and I can make boards anywhere from 2x2 to 6x4. That's cool. Got yourself some options and things. I like the idea of having tiles that you kind of you can sort of mix and match, if you like, so that every game board or every game that you play has like a certain amount of options, if you like. Okay, cool. So pretty much dry on the undercoat front there, a little bit tacky to start with. I don't really mind. Just going to get some of this paint on here and see how this goes. It's such a lovely colour. I really like it. I was using it on my Tyranids a couple of episodes ago. It's just nice. I call it ivory, or refer to this sort of colour as ivory or antique white. And when I first started painting Space Marines all those many years ago, it was my solution to painting purity seals. Was this ore colour, or a creamy colour, with a little brown wash over them, kind of make that parchment impression. And frankly, it's something that I still do. Okay, I'm going to need a lot more of this colour, but it is covering really nicely thanks to the white undercoat there. Ooh. Not a bad colour. Chris says the line art is coming along well. If I'm good, I can paint today. Ah, okay. So you obviously draw all the lines for your piece, and then you paint in and around them. You're not one of those people that can just paint straight away. I can't paint or draw. I just like to have a go. Oh, it's quite a hard piece to hold, this one. Okay, cool. I'm going to have to mix up some more paint because that didn't go very far. Thought it was going to, but it didn't. So I'm going to mix that up now. Okay. Cool. What we'll do, like we always do, halfway through the show, is just have a quick 10-minute break, just so you can, go stretch your legs, refocus your eyes, go do something, feed the cat or something like that. Whatever you got to go and do. I might go and get out of this room for a minute because it's really hot in here. I might go and get some more water to drink too. I will certainly go and change my paint water. You should go and change your paint water. Always change your paint water. Anyway, we'll be back in just a few minutes, so don't go anywhere. See you shortly. Welcome back. I hope that was a good break for you. I didn't change my paint mortar, but my partner brought me a beer, which is lovely. Isn't that wonderful? I could absolutely murder a beer today. So, for some reason, despite the intense heat in the house, it's not drying very quickly. So I've been just trying to give it a bit of a blast with the airbrush. Just the air. Just trying to kind of get it to kind of dry a little bit. Not overly fussed about how the paint kind of goes on it at the moment, but obviously it does mean that it's tacky to pick up and hold, and it is quite an awkward piece to handle. Yeah, so I've kind of given it a coat all over in this bone colour. I really like it. It's a nice colour. Let me just kind of get a stick so I can use a stick to hold it in place, and then that way I can blow it without touching it with my fingers and not hold it in place. Yeah, I think I'm gonna give it another coat. I don't want to, because I'm gonna spend ages doing this piece if I have to keep waiting for every layer of paint to dry. But I think it needs another coat, so I might just give it another once over, and then hopefully it should dry. Anyway, cool. Normally at this part of the show, I would like to dedicate it to community spotlight and to companies that provide really good services, and talk about guest spots and things like that. Obviously this week I've hardly had any time to even get my paints out of the box or whatever, so I haven't had any time to do anything like that at all. However, if there's anything that you would like to talk about or wanted to kind of give someone credit because they make some wonderful miniatures or terrain or something like that, then let me know, because I'm quite happy to talk about them during the show, give them the praise, kind of share the knowledge, and let other people out there know about these really cool businesses and providers, and also if you just kind of want to show off your own models, great place to do it if you want to. Luke says silver is now done on his knight's legs, just the brass, green and grey to go, so it's one colour down and 3 more to go. Have fun. Big model. I bet it looks epic though. Cool. Got my water before the beer, because you've got to have water on a day like this. Wonderful. I've drunk so much water. I'm really quite pooped out today. I am conscious of the time that this is taking, and I wanted this to be a bit of a quick affair. I am quite happy to come back to it next week and do some more on it, because I know that it doesn't take a day to do just a couple of hours to do one thing. Sometimes it takes longer. But I would like to at least get to the point where I'm putting the brown washes on it, and maybe even going into weathering, so that maybe next week we can go into weathering it and kind of really adding some detail to that as well. It'll be a really nice journey. I just wish the journey was a little bit quicker on such a small article here. It certainly is a nice little colour. Let's have a little look at it. Let's go back over to my workbench. I know that it's going to look nice when it's done, so it is still ever so slightly tacky, really peculiar. Perhaps I shouldn't have added that extra layer of gloss in, I don't know, whatever. So yeah, a little patchy in some places. You can see here, and if you can see clearly, there's a little bit that I've missed just there on the first pass. That's okay, it's on the underside anyway. Ever so slightly tacky to hold. I can still see a lot of the layer lines, a lot of the artifacts, and some of the really rough areas on there. Again, if this was going to be a more quality piece, I would be a bit more upset about that, and of course I would spend the time to go over it, and really sand that down and make sure that the quality is better. But it was a very, very short period of print time, so I'm not expecting Forged World level of quality or anything like that out of this piece. Chris the Wolf says, now you know how I feel over here. I feel like I'm getting baked. Is it really warm over there as well? Or have you just got the heating on? Because, dude, if you've got the heating on, you can just turn that down. I still can't hear my own music. Which is why there might have been a bit of a pause at the end of the intermission, because I've got to hear it on my phone, which is beside me, playing the actual live feed, which is a few seconds behind. So yeah, I don't know what's going on. I don't know why it does that to me. Sometimes it does. Most of the time it works fine. Sometimes it just goes, today you're not going to listen to the audio. I restarted the program a couple of times. I restarted my computer. It still wasn't doing it. So you know what? Let's just crack on with the show. It's why I like live stream. I like the fact that I can't hide all of my problems and errors. It's just funny. Perhaps you disagree. Perhaps you're like, dude, actually, no, don't make it a live stream. If you could just record a show and then we can watch it in quality playback, then yeah, please let me know. Cause if you think it's rubbish, then I think I deserve to know. Okay, so this layer of paint is going on a bit thicker. I haven't put so much water in it. Not a deliberate move, that's just the way it's going on. So at least it's going to cover more. But of course that does mean that it might take a little bit longer to dry, perhaps. Maybe, even though water in my head kind of evaporates faster when it's more watery paint. Perhaps adding all that moisture takes longer for it to dry. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm not an expert by any stretch. Now, I'm not really fussed about getting a perfect coverage with this all over, because I know for a fact that when I put a wash on over it with the Seraphim, which I will take a little bit more time doing, when that kind of goes on, because it adds a filter to the colour, it kind of helps with that coating, if you like. I don't want the piece to become a brown piece with an antique white background, so I am going to be very careful about how I apply that wash. It's going to be very controlled, adding a slight filter, but really trying to just concentrate on getting the definition in some of the subtle shapes that are on here. For example, these plates or panels and some of the grooves and lines, and then on the underside there's a very subtle pattern under here. You can probably see this little bit here, just to kind of emphasize the sort of design of it, if you will. I don't want that wash to be a part of the weathering process, just the definition and color. However, if I can't achieve that, I'm fine for it to as a contingency. It's also quite nice to have a project after I've been spending a lot of time really trying to be slow and deliberate and detailed on my Tyranids, especially on the Panther build that I've been doing. It's nice just to have a little project where I can just kind of just go a bit crazy, let my hair down. Not that I've got a lot of hair, but you know what I mean. And just kind of slap paint on again. On a lot of areas on this, it's easier to go with the direction of the print lines. I know that sounds like an obvious thing to say, but I didn't realize it was going to affect it as much as that. So another layer on there. It does seem to be drying a bit quicker, which is nice. Give it a quick blast with the air. All I want to do really now with that color is on these kind of cutouts here is the underside of them, is just give a quick layer in there, but I'm only going to do that once it's easier to hold this, because it is quite tacky still. And then it's all over to the wash colours, the browns. Okay, that seems to be enough for now. Enough to at least turn it on its side so that I can paint underneath. I know that the camera faces directly down, so looking down on top of this structure isn't really all that exciting. So turning it on its side, it's quite nice to see the shape of it here, and the lights being quite reflective on this colour as well. It's a really nice design. It's in fact, you know, as a piece that was designed digitally for printing, it's a beautiful design, and I'm very grateful for the individual who created it and uploaded it onto Thingiverse for free. And perhaps once I've kind of got these little test prints, if you want to call them that, these little basic fun prints, have a go. Maybe I'll spend some time, get my printer up and running properly, and really do a really nice top quality print, really paint it up, send a picture to the creator of it, and then put a donation in as well as a means of say thank you, and you know, look what I've done, isn't it nice? And maybe get him to connect to the show. Who knows? Who else have we got going on in here? Chris says no heating, and I wish I could turn it off, so it is just as hot as heck out there as well. Yeah, man, I feel you. It's nice because we work in the outdoors. It's nice to be, you know, high and dry and sunny and whatever. But yeah, it just gets a bit much sometimes. Okay, this is straight out of the pot. I'm not even adding water to this because I like to live dangerously. It's just a couple of areas that I've noticed now turning on its side. Like, yeah, that could do with another layer. Didn't want to do it, but it's patchy. Okay. Let's get that up and under those little cutouts in there. It's really poor quality surface in there because the supports that were printed vertically in here to allow this to be printed without it just kind of slopping around all over the place like silly string. They were really aggressive contact points. When you're printing, you can affect almost every detail of the print, and you know how much bond layer there is between the top of the support and the actual floor, if you like, of the model. And when I did these ones, I just had it set very aggressively, so by the time I was removing them, it's actually kind of bit into the model itself. Again, just a bit of fun. It doesn't really matter, and you're not really going to see them here. And I could spend the time filling them in, but I don't want to. That's the short story there. And again, just a bit of air. Quick flip over to the other side. It's actually looking alright here. Just a couple of places where I could add a bit more. Just down here. Okay. Do you know what? Let's just leave that for a moment. I'll wash my brushes out because I'm done with those for that little job right now, and then I'm going to go over to adding some wash in there. I'm just going to give my brushes a quick rinse out with some brush cleaner because I've got a big brush and the paint really creeps up inside those bristles, and it's such a good brush, and I think it's a really cheap brush. I've had it for years. I think it's one that the old man gave me, but it served me so well that I like to really make sure I look after this one. Don't want paint to dry up inside the ferrule area, so just put a blob. This one, you can't really see what I'm doing there, but I've got a bit of cleaner on the table. If I'm moving a little bit, you can't see it. Just got some cleaner fluid on the table and just kind of brush it out a little bit. Cool. Leslie's put in a comment, just letting my hot knife cool down from cutting in details of the roads on the Battletech boards, and that Elder Spire is looking cool. Yeah, I mean, I haven't really done anything to it. It's thanks. All I've done is just kind of put a colour on there. It's really the design of the model itself. I think it's really nice. you know, I think that also the idea is that you just have one. You could have two that kind of like touch at the top or something, or kind of create this illusion of a portal, a circle. But I think the idea is actually they're supposed to just have one, because, you know, it's alien tech and it's supposed to break the boundaries of what we expect. It's a nice model. I like it. Also, it's a nice size. It's not overpowering, but it's not like the tiny details that you're going to miss. It's not like having just a little bit of, you know, fallen brick wall or a piece of pipe elbow sticking up. It's kind of got purpose, and it's got stature on the table, a presence, if you will. And I appreciate that. I value that as a piece of terrain. It's also narrative because it belongs to a particular faction. So just by having it on the table, knowing what it is, kind of tells you a little bit about the area that you're fighting in. A bit of background. Right. Brush is cleaned. Clean my surface there. There we go. Wonderful. And some more water, which I've moved closer to me because it's really hot. Oh, right, okay, cool. I'm just going to give it another blast of air because why not, right? Now, I am thinking that because I want some softer colours on here, and I don't want it to be... I don't want the colour of the wash to be kind of the dominating colour, and I don't want it to be a part of the weathering process. I think I'm going to go with Seraphim Sepia, and then if I need starker contrast, then I will... carefully add, like with a pin wash, I'll add Agrax Earthshade because it's a darker tone, so I want to be quite soft with it. So let's go to these two colours over here. Got Seraphim Sepia, Agrax Earthshade. There is quite a stark difference between the two of them. Let's get this one out, give it a bit of a shake. And I think I might also apply this with the tank brush. Oh, I don't know. I don't know what to do here, because obviously it's going to give me quick coverage with it, but there is a tendency to go too far. What do? I will get my really expensive Raphael Klinsky brush out because it's got quite a sizable bristle head on there, and that might allow me to help control overspills. It's got some Restorer gel in there which just needs a bit of washing out, so just kind of rinse that out there. The bristles were all kind of set with like a hair gel product in there. Like a hair gel, but not actually hair gel. Okay, cool. So, got that one on standby in case I need it. I am going to go straight for it though, out the pot with the tank brush. Because this is just for fun, right? Just check, see it's not too tacky. It's drying quite well. It could do with a little bit of air just down there. I don't want it to mix. If it is still slightly wet, mixing this brown with that colour could be a bit of a tragedy. And this week has had too many of those already. Okay, cool. Here we go. That's been shaken up quite well. Go straight in. I'm gonna bring this little pie tray over here, just because it's nice to have a bit of a palette to control how much you've got on the brush just by kind of dabbing it off. So yeah, I can just a little bit like that. So I can just kind of just sponge it out. It's a really nice colour. I don't know if that really picks up on the camera quite well. When you can see it with the metallic tray underneath coming through. It's a really kind of a golden brown. It's a really nice colour. Never thought I'd say that about brown. Oh, I just hit that really hard. Okay, cool. So let's just do this. Yeah, it's kind of got like a tea stain to it. It's a bit on the strong side. I don't know if I like that. Just add some water. Kind of control it, move it around a bit. That's much better. That's much more subtle. So I think I just kind of need to have a wet brush and move it around. I don't want it to be too strong. Just make it like it is bone and it's a bit aged. Perhaps it's all kind of dried. Being as wet as this is, it will be harder to dry, and also it's going to be prone to running and creating like kind of coffee stain effect, and I really don't want that to be the case. See how it's pooling here? That's not what I want. So I'm going to keep on agitating it, keep on moving it, so I get this coverage all over that I want. And then I kind of rinse the brush out, or just kind of remove the paint from it. And then I use dryer bristles to just kind of lift it off with a capillary sort of action. Okay, a touch of water again on here. There we go, that's much better. Keep it moving around. Yeah. And now what I do, just kind of rinse the brush out, dry it off in paper. There, and now I should be able to, yeah, I think that's really quite effective. Where that dries here, that will leave like a big splodge, and I don't want that. That would ruin the effect of it quite quickly. And here you can see it's doing it as well. That's not all bad. I really like that. Actually better on this side than it is on this one. Let's see if I can affect it. Not pulling off too much and leaving big sort of clean brush marks through it. Okay, let's just keep on going. It's kind of running down the bottom of the base here. Not such a problem at the bottom because I can always cover it over with like grass or soil or whatever. So just keep on going. I think I like this get it on quick kind of approach and then hit it with water. Seems to work quite well, I think. You can see the difference there between wiping it away with a wet brush and then or just putting it directly on. Is quite a difference. Something that I am quite scared of is where the wash sits in all the lines. It might really over-identify those little lines on there, and I really don't want that to happen. So I'm just trying to be quite vigilant of that. Just try and reduce it as much as I can. What can you do? It's going to be quite difficult, I think. Okay, yeah, that's looking really good. Again, I've got a bit of pooling there. Just absorb that away. Wonderful. A bit there as well. Again in there. I don't think I'm going to need to come back with Agrax. I think this is an appropriate colour. It's working quite well. That's really good. I really like that. Luke says, hey, legs are done. Attaching the feet now. Well done, mate. Congratulations. Glad you're getting somewhere. That's nice to know. Oh, the bottom of this model is still quite tacky. I feel quite cheap. Okay, keep going. Don't stop, Danny. Keep going. I'm gonna get it in here as well. Yep. That's looking pretty good. It's nice when it all just kind of works, isn't it? I'm not having to overthink anything here. Okay, again, just a bit more water. Clean that out a little bit. Oh, just knocking into everything. Bit too much water there, perhaps. Okay. I'm quite concerned actually by sometimes how long it takes me as an individual to paint a simple model. I wonder if there's anyone else out there who, even if you're really good or even if you're a newbie, do you tend to paint really fast or really slow to a quality that you like? Is it me? Am I just slow at this? I don't mind being slow. It's just nice to be able to finish something once in a while. I think I struggle with that. That is the reason why I started Easy 8. There's, in case there's people out there who struggle too, who can help me along. Yeah, just interested. Do you take forever doing these things? I'm going to put it down now because I'm getting quite close to in on the sort of ground level with it. That's really quite good. Got some mild coffee staining style artifacts on there. It might just all add to the effect. Some of them it's a bit late for me to kind of get to. Not gonna really fuss with them too much. They will show up, but that's okay. It will, yeah, it'll probably just add to the weathering effect. Not that I wanted it to be there, but it is. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. Jeff says, I just got to paint fast. Pounds, pounds, pounds. Money, money, money. Yeah, you're right, because it is your dollar. It is your lifeline. You just got to do it. I suppose, yeah. If this was my job, I'm sure I would learn to do it fast. Right. Just trying now to get a little bit of airflow on here, just to kind of expedite that drying process. But obviously, it is now really, really runny. So as I do this, it is moving around at a pace that I don't want it to, and kind of causing me problems. So there's a bit in there that I don't want. Let's get rid of that. If I start removing it all with the brush, I'm just going to be lifting all that colour off. And where it's sitting in some of the recesses, it adds a really nice edge. You can see it here. It's really nice. I thought I was going to have to add some agrax in there. I don't. But if I start applying air out of the airbrush, and this was not an unknown factor, I knew it was going to happen. I was just hoping that the heat today would just affect it. In front of my eyes now, looking at it, it's a really nice effect. It's a perfect choice of colours. It is exactly what I had in my head, and that feels like success to me. That's nice. I'm very comfortable in saying that I think by the end of next week's show that I will be at a point where I can pretty much call it complete. So yeah, watch this space. Come back next week to see it finished. I did put in, like the schedule for tonight's show. Wonder if I can get it done tonight. As I was typing, I was like, that's ambitious. Come on, think about your track record. So apologies to anyone who thought I was going to get something finished tonight, but it's probably not going to happen. It's definitely not going to happen tonight. Sorry. Chris has said, I like to paint slow and take my time with it. Yes, you canvas painter, so obviously you're really liking to, you want to get everything perfect and spot on. Of course you do. Yeah, I like to treat my projects like a canvas. I don't know why the mentality or the approach that changes how I feel about it. Like my Panther is the perfect example. That to me is my masterpiece. It might not be at the level of what could be considered by all as a masterpiece, but for me it is a really fine piece and I'm really proud of it. This is just like a bit of a fun slap around, a dot to dot compared to a Mona Lisa. And I'm having fun doing it, which is the important thing, isn't it, really? Before that, of course, Jeff says, remember, it would be darker at the bottom, lighter at the top. Yeah, you're right, it would be, but I think I want to make that as a part of the weathering process. This, for me, is just the colour of that material, whatever that is, the psychic bone. So when it comes to weathering, I might make it heavier. I do lots of run marks, do lots of building up of grime and things, and then the rising damp I would probably do the same as well. Oh, having the top up on the water again. I think there might have been a cat hair in that. That is disgusting. I can't get rid of it. Okay, cool. It's just going to stay there. All right. Now that it's had a bit more time to just air dry, let's see if I can just get you to dry. Oh no. I was really hoping that the weather would help affect this. Cool. Okay, what I really want to do is kind of get it onto its back so I can do the underside of it here, which is the harder bit, because it's just a really weird shape. But that does mean holding it, and holding it means potentially getting my fingers all in the paint down there. Okay, let's just do this. Come on. There we go. Wonderful. Bring that back in. That's really helpful. Okay, let's just go for it. Now, the problem I know is going to happen is, as I'm painting it onto this surface, is that it will run down the sides of the bits that I've already done. That's almost unavoidable. I've just got to try and get this quick and on here so that I can stand it back up again, and then I can manipulate it into the right directions and kind of stop it from building up the places I don't want it to. Speed is of the essence, as Jeff just said. He didn't say that, but that is kind of what he was meaning. I'm the host who doesn't need viewers. I can just make up your own conversation. You guys can go if you want. See ya. Today on Tacky Painting Club. Okay, let's get some water in here. Luke says, I would say I'm slow as I think it helps properly catch the personality of the model. Also, I'm still learning to give time to reflect. Yeah, that's a really important point, actually. It's a really important aspect, is to just kind of take your time, not in actually painting, but to consider what it is that you're actually doing, you know, and the colours that you're using and how you apply them. Yeah, very valid point. Jeff says, I tend to put the next couple of colours on while the first is still wet and it blends them together. Yeah, wet blending. I'm just rubbish at it. But yeah, you're right, that is absolutely a technique. And I really wanted to do something on it some weeks ago. Someone was sending me messages going, hey, can you like do some wet blending? Like, I don't actually know what I'm doing. And as I've always said, you know, I don't consider the show as a tutorial, so I don't want to be like teaching you to do something necessarily, especially while not necessarily knowing how to do it. But some of the projects that Kyle and I wanted to do in the future are like, you know, learning how to do things like wet blending and things like that. So come along for that journey with us on that one if you're interested, but we haven't got a date for that at the moment just because of Kyle's busy time frame. But hopefully we'll see him back soon and we can start getting on some of the projects that we wanted to do. We're really hyped to do some sort of skin colours, skin tones. Yeah, really pick up our skills as such. That would be really fun. Looking forward to that. This is a bit messier down here and I'm quite keen to sort that out quickly. Okay, just a bit, yeah, it's a bit grubby here. Come on, let's sort that out. Some of these print lines are working against me, holding a lot of the paint. That's not fun. And because I'm making it quite wet, it just wants to run down, so up underneath it's actually quite difficult to get the same effect as is everywhere else. But that's just the nature of this shape. I think I'm just going to have to settle for it, and hopefully a lot of these problems I might be able to hide in weathering. Got a lot of coffee staining going on down the side there, don't really want that. There's a bit just here, try and bring it a shot a bit more, just here. Yeah, not really into that too much, but yeah, maybe it'll all end to the add to the end effect. Okay, cool. Alright, well, so let's get some community thoughts on it so far. What do you guys think? What do you think it could be added to it to make it any better? Do you think it could do with specific colors or patternings? What do you think of the idea of making the gems just kind of glossy black against this this sort of background of bone color? I think it'd be quite interesting. I could do like gem colors, but I think that's kind of cliche, and I like the idea of it being like a glossy black. Makes it look like it's a dormant thing or a long extinct power or something like that. It once contained something but now doesn't, perhaps. Darren has joined us and says, sorry dude, I'm a bit late, been busy. Yeah man, it has been a hectic week for me as well, don't worry about it, but thanks for coming along, nice to see you in the chat again, thanks very much. Luke says, bottle caps are really good for learning techniques, just a heads up. Bottle caps are really good for learning new techniques. Bottle caps, what do you mean by bottle caps? Is it actually like beer bottle caps, or is this a name of a YouTube tutorial channel or something? I'd like to know. Jeff says, wet blending, you start with the mid color, then add a lighter shade to the upper areas, and then start to add a darker shade to the lower areas. Let it dry. That's your starting color. Interesting, that's cool. I'd like to give it a go. Maybe a project up and coming soon. Yeah, I like learning new things. Could be a really good part, part of the show. Leslie says, glossy black gems sounds pretty dang cool, dude. Thanks very much. That's a very British statement from you. Pretty dang cool, sir. I'm just trying to wait for all of this brown wash to just pool at the bottom. When it does, just pick it out with the brush, and then hopefully that means I can then go with a little bit of air because there's less paint to be blowing around. It's still blowing around a little, I can see it there. You can see, if I pick it up, you can see it kind of moving around at the bottom. Again, it should be quite weathered at the bottom, so this isn't the worst thing in the world, just in the interest of trying to keep it neat all over. Really surprised that the temperature here today in the room and just generally outside has not affected the drying time of this at all. It certainly has in past shows when it's been warm down here, but that might just be because it was when the heating was on and the ambient temperature was different. Darren says, hi, I know what you mean. I use old sprue. And Luke says, like the lids of bottles. I just don't know what you're talking about applying them. I mean, are you talking about having them as like little paint palettes? How are you using the bottle caps? I don't know. I'm confused. Normally this is what happens on the show. I get confused, nationally or internationally embarrass myself live by not understanding what's been written or what you're trying to say, and then I go into Discord and then it's explained to me by in person. I go, oh yeah, I know exactly what you mean, and then looking back to how I've embarrassed myself on the show, but hey ho, I set myself up for that, whatever. Yep, I don't think I'm going to be able to get any weathering on here today. Bit of a shame, but that's okay. I'm starting to blow the paint out of these little recesses in here, and I don't want that at all. Go back in there. So, yeah. Any other colours that anybody can think of that would make this look really super cool? I don't think I'm going to do any kind of rendering effects or anything like that on here. I don't think it needs it. Like pre-shades or anything like that, like I've done on other things in the past. I think just nice and clean and whatever. I might highlight the colour a little bit, maybe give it some edging, but that might detract from the overall weathered, ancient look. Perhaps, I don't know. I don't know. I think I think just nice and simple. Keep it simple. Black stones, give them a bit of a gloss, and then just weather. Might do a little bit of a base on the bottom, just kind of add some grass. Because if I add a little bit of base that kind of comes out around, sort of around here, perhaps, and just kind of going around, then I might be able to make it look like it's sunken into the earth. And if I print off more of them in the future, I can just kind of cut them off at different angles and kind of make it look like the over the eons or whatever, they've kind of toppled over into different directions and kind of, you know, Leaning Tower of Pisa style. That could be quite interesting, given different stages of decay and, you know, falling apart and things. That could be quite cool. I could do big cracks, or just kind of cut them off at certain heights, so that it looks like that actually this one's just been damaged and fallen on the floor. And the gentleman, I believe it was a gentleman who designed this, had different sizes and scales and versions of it. And the idea with the print is that you can just build it up to whatever size you want. And some of the prints, some of the images of it in different scales and went to enormous sizes, to allow like giant titans and things to come through portals. And then there was a little miniature one as well that allowed, like, I suppose, just foot troops to come through. And I suppose the concept behind that is having a smaller thing is easier to conceal, to kind of move your troops around through, like, you know, space portals. It's just a really nice design, and I really appreciate the fact that things like this exist out there for free. I think it's wonderful. It's really kind when you consider the amount of time that must go into creating something that it's a very simple looking model, but to actually create something. I know I've done 3D designs myself, and it takes a long time. There's a lot of time and effort that goes into it. So yeah, this unfortunately is going to take a lot longer to dry. What I might get away with now is giving it a matte coat, just to kind of bring it all back down again and seal it all in, and that might be where my show ends tonight. That's not going to be a bad thing. I think it will look really nice. So let's find some matte varnish. Maybe I'll give it a satin varnish. I don't use satin as often as I use any of the others, so I'm going to give it a satin varnish. Satin actually might be a really nice finish to give it at the end. So once it's kind of all done, I might leave it as a satin finish, do the glossy stones on it, and that might give it that kind of, I don't know, you know, alien sort of feel to it. It might look quite appropriate. Let's have a look what's going on here. Lots of statements going in. Crystal says, "I'm done with the liner." Yeah, now you can move on with the painting. Darren says, "You can. What happens on the same plastic if you bugger up your model?" Okay. Luke says, "I'll explain in the Discord. It's a bit too warm to think. Maybe that's just what's happening at my end here." Jeff says that's just a very nice colour. The colour of this, yeah, I love it. I think it's a really nice colour. Do you see what I mean from when I first put the bone colour on, and then applied this filter of this brown over the top? It's changed the colour, but not by much, and where it's kind of built up, it's add that little layer of definition. It really gives it, I don't know how to explain it. It's just a really nice set of colours, and you're right. Thank you very much. Darren says, "Score some lines with a scalpel to add age and weather." That's a really good idea, actually. I could, yeah, just score some, and I could make it quite directional as well, and set scratches and things. Do a bit of graffiti at the bottom as well. That'd be interesting. Jeanette, hi Jeanette, late but hello all. Hi Jeanette, thanks for coming along. Haven't seen you for a while. Hope you're doing well. Almost at the end of the show, but never mind. Better late than never. And doesn't matter if you're never. I don't mind. Tonight hasn't been the smoothest of shows because it's been a hell of a week, and I just have not been prepared for it at all. I'm not even sorry. No, I am. I am incredibly sorry. But also, yeah, having some technical issues again this evening for some reason. Can't hear the music. Don't know why. Happens sometimes. I haven't found out a workaround on that one yet. And also my headphones ran out of power halfway through the show. which is unusual that I don't catch that before it happens. Hopefully it hasn't affected everything too much. I laugh it off, but you guys might be quite upset about it. I'd be like, no, this is just completely unprofessional. It's not what I come here for. Sorry, I'm just not that good. I think I'm going to stick a bit more varnish in there. I don't think that's enough, so I'm just going to put a bit more in. Jeanette says, I'm good, just been doing some stuff with Amira being your daughter. For all those other people out there, wondering who you're talking about. That's nice, been a nice day for it as well. But I wish it would cool down some. I'm going to have to go and sit outside for half an hour after this. I've got my beer here beside me. I'm just going to have to go and chill out. Maybe I'll go there with the cat and my partner and just enjoy the evening. It's just too warm. Okay, so I'm just, you can see that there are some damp patches down the bottom here. It's a little bit messier on this side. I don't think it's going to matter too much. It is just a fun piece. I'm going to turn it over onto the drier of the two sides, starting at the top, and I'm just going to give it a matte varnish. Maybe I'm doing this, maybe I'm doing this too early. I don't care. Jeff says, paint it with the cracked earth just to see what happens? Many question marks? Yes, I could do. This has been something that some of the guys on the Tyrannid groups on Facebook that I follow do with the carapace on their Tyrannids. And it kind of just adds some really nice texture to those kind of bone parts of the animals. It works. A lot of people started doing it quite a lot because it looked really cool. And I try not to follow the crowd too much just because, if someone else is doing it, I don't like to just copy all the time, though it did look really good. So I didn't do it on mine, but yeah, you're right, it could add a really nice sort of layer of texture to this. Perhaps I'll do it with another one, so I've got two to compare. Maybe I can make it as a part of that Tyrannid infection thing that I was talking about. That'd be quite interesting, wouldn't it? Stuck to me. There we go. Making a real pig's ear of this tonight as well. Like it's really tacky. Just been handling it so much while the paint's all been wet. Okay, I think I've broken every rule of practice, painting and airbrushing and everything with this project this evening, but it's been fun, right? Just give that a little bit of an air dry, so I can turn it aside. And I'm just going to do the undersides of these kind of cutouts down the back here as well, because I think it needs a little bit under there too. Yeah, just kind of wait for it to dry because I've just done such a bot shop of it all evening. Don't want to add anything else to it. Looks nice though. Oh, yeah, just touch it all over. Why not? Great. Is it safe to touch at the top? It is. Okay, cool. Wonderful. Do you know what? I'm going to call it there. Let's just get the rest of this varnish out of here. Added a bit too much in there. Maybe I didn't need to add that extra bit of varnish in. yeah, I've ever done this. That was a bit of a waste. That's a bit annoying. Never mind. It happens. Okay. Some cleaner in there. And then purge. Cool. There we are. That's that. Adrian says, there are rules to painting and airbrushing? No, but there's like a convention that we all kind of uphold to, I think, and that is at least wait for the last layer of paint to dry before you touch it. When you don't put your pig fingers all over it. Yeah, I've made it. Yeah, I feel tacky. It feels tacky. Some parts of it look a little tacky than others, but hopefully it's going to look pretty cool. When it is, I'm just putting my fingers in wet paint on the top as well. Oh my goodness. When it's dry, I'll take some photos. I'll put it up on Facebook and up on Discord as well, so you guys can kind of see the product from at least the angle that I can see it in. It's a bit of a weird angle to be looking at today. If I'd thought about it, then I could have set the camera up to look at a different angle. Perhaps I'll do that next week. But like I said, it's been a bit of a tough week with my colleague breaking her ankle and just kind of having to do 13-hour days. I've opted and volunteered to do that, but you know, I'm proud to do the work that I do. It's just meant that I haven't been able to spend the time here at home doing preparations for the show. So I apologise for that at least. However, I've had fun just kind of slapping paint on it, just kind of playing around with new colours, playing around with new shapes, because this is something that I've not done before, and I'm just kind of happy to have a little bit of colour on something that was just kind of this weird orangey silver colour. And I've still got this one here to play around with, so anything that I learn on this one, I can transfer the kind of knowledge over to this one as well. But it would be kind of nice to make this one look like it's being absorbed by Tyrannid flora and fauna, perhaps. I don't know. See what happens, and then maybe once I kind of get some really good designs with it, I'll make a bigger one, or maybe some smaller ones, or just some really better quality ones. Just see what they're like. That'd be really brilliant. Would love to know how you guys have got on this evening. Obviously, some of you have said that you have finished aspects of your projects this evening. Line drawings are completed, ready for painting. Luke's finished with the silver, and the legs of his knights are all done. Really looking forward to seeing all of that step by step. Dude, this sounds really cool. Love a really big project like that as well. Love to know how the kitchen's going, Jeff, Dad. Yeah, let us know what's happening out there. Adrian, how are you getting on with your 3 tanks? Would love to know. Obviously, you put some photos up at Facebook. If anybody else wants to have a little look at what Adrian has posted today, or anybody else has posted over the last week, head on over to Facebook at Easy8. See what's happening on over there. The links are in the description of this video, and you can see the addresses just here at the bottom of the screen, whichever way I have to go for it. Here you go. If you're heading on over to Facebook or Instagram to see what we're all about over there, consider dropping us a like or a follow. That would be that'd be really nice. And maybe if you're so inclined, subscribe to this YouTube channel, and it helps me and Kyle and the community make something really worthwhile of this little channel that we've got here. That would be great. Last couple of comments going on. Chris has started painting just at the end of the show, and you're an hour ahead of me. This is late, and I know you stay up late. Get some sleep, man. Get some sleep. Cool. Anyway, that's enough from me this evening. It's stonking hot. It's bonkers in here. It really is. I hope you guys have a wonderful week ahead. Oh, before I go any further, Leslie says, I really enjoyed this evening. Painted the Battletech boards. Have to make terrain for it now, but tonight's show was awesome as always. Thanks very much. That's brilliant. Jeff says, we'll send pics of kitchen, the bomb site. That'd be brilliant. Yeah, stick that up there. That'd be great. AJ says, tanks are undercoated and a layer of Caliban green on the turret. Done. Fantastic. Sounds like you've all had a very productive evening. Jeanette says, I posted the picture of my work. Fantastic. The whole community getting involved there. Brilliant. Anyway, it really is time to end the show. I'm going to be over on Discord for at least half an hour, drinking this beer that I've got beside me, cleaning up my airbrush because I left it in the state from the last time, and I'll also be there to have a chat with you guys as well. And some of you guys can talk to me about what this bottle cap thing is. I'm really interested to know. So, yeah, see you in Discord. If you haven't joined Discord already, do it. It's great. Anyway, I've been Danny. You've been awesome. Until next week, stay safe and continue to be kind and keep on painting. And I will see you next week. Take care now. Bye-bye. Crazy. So many technical issues. So hot.